Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. And welcome back, everyone, to the Enlighten Up podcast. Of course, I am here with the gorgeous Mary Dusina, our seer, our Scorpio queen, and we are coming to you just a day before the big lunar eclipse in Virgo on the South Node, and this is going to be a very, very powerful lunar eclipse. Wouldn't you agree, Mary?
Yeah, we're soul surfing right now. This is the Piscean oceans of emotions and the mysteries of the deepest aspects. I always use the ocean or the sea as a comparative to our 12th sign Pisces, because we still, with all of our high tech and our underground oil rigs and BART systems and submarines and spyware on whales and dolphins with sonar, we still, it's as much of an ultra-terrestrial realm with different beings underneath us, underneath our feet in our mother oceans, as well as it is father sky and space, So this is a full moon, blood moon, worm moon. The earthworms emerge, lunar eclipse. We've not had a blood moon since November of 2022. And this one is wanting to align us head, Virgo, nervous system, head and soul. So not just heart, but soul center, the epitome, the majesty of our, not just our intuition. That's a tool of the soul seeing, but it's about soul seeing and seeing deeper than we ever have before. It's a quantum intersection, both to do with issues and the theater of our past and the upcoming curtains going up of what we're manifesting, moving through right now, the crisis of moving chaos into completion, moving anxiety into letting spirit, kind of like the country song, Jesus Take the Wheel, kind of a thing. It really is that with Pisces, because it's the fishes going in opposite directions. So this is big medicine.
Okay. You literally just set me up perfectly. Mary, I don't even know how you just did that, because you have no idea what I'm about to say. But everyone, what you just listened to Mary say couldn't be more perfectly descriptive of what this lunar eclipse is about. But me personally, this happens to me every single time. I don't know how, but whenever I've got an event or something big, it's somehow timed perfectly for the astrological energies. And so for many of you, you probably, especially if you're on my newsletter, you know that next Monday, I am holding a live event called Healing Exit Strategy. And this is something that my guides have urged me to put together to help people end the looping of their healing journey so they can actually get real world transformation and move on to the next level and not be stuck in processing, not be stuck in all the same exercises or healing processes that you're going through, your methods, without actually getting the change in your real life. And so Mary, listening to you, I was just like, you got to be kidding me, because my healing exit strategy is literally my signature method that I've put together and what I use with every time I'm working with a client to help them collapse time around their transformation so that they get an exit off ramp to their healing journey. Not because, the healing journey is necessarily always done. It's not. There's always more things that we can level up on and transform, but it's preparing you for the next thing, right? But you also should never always be stuck in the healing journey. You should be living your life. You should be enjoying the fruits of your labor. And so literally, when we think about this lunar eclipse in Virgo, absolutely, the Virgo Pisces axis is all about health and healing, right? And Mary said it perfectly. Virgo represents our processes, our routines, all the different strategies that we implement, our day to day. And it's also about the body, the health, the body, but Pisces is about the soul healing, right? Like this is where we do the deep inner child. This is where we look at our fears and our shames and our guilts. And it's where we connect everything so that we're not just looking at things in what Virgo likes to do, like pinpointing all the little details, but we see the big overwhelming picture. And my healing exit strategy literally is that to a T. It's where I take, you said the intersecting point, right? Between the body and the soul. This is literally what I'm going to be teaching. And it's like, I didn't even realize this until 2 nights ago. I was literally lying in bed and I'm just lying there and I'm like, oh my gosh, trying to fall asleep because I just come down with a sore throat, which I'm still getting over. And all of a sudden, boom, it hits me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? How does my higher self know how to guide me so perfectly? So what are we doing in this lunar eclipse in Virgo? We're letting go of things that no longer serve us, that are no longer working for us. When it comes to Virgo, first and foremost, is always about our health, right? But it is also about your day-to-day routines, the processes that you go through, the details. It is about, the organization of things. And so it's also like, Virgo is kind of like, when we think about this eclipse, it's kind of like a cosmic accountant who's balancing the books, like what's working, what's not working, right? And so when you kind of look at that and understanding that this is where the South Node is, and this is what's releasing, this is what we have to look at that's no longer working for us. And the North Node is in Pisces, meaning this is where we have to allow our Mercury mind to expand into the soul level of, what does our soul need in alignment? The North Node wants to push you outside your comfort zone. It wants you to be more aligned with your destiny. It wants you to do things you've never done before. So it really is about taking your Virgo processes in mind and opening them up to new ways of doing it so that you can get whole, full healing, not just healing of the body, but healing of the soul, healing of the mind, all in one. And it's saying like, you can't keep staying in the same loop, right? And so there's this like Uranus energy coming from Taurus. And I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but this Uranus energy in Taurus that's saying, hey, wake up call, shake up call. It's time to revolutionize your healing path so that you get next level transcendence in your life and you're ready to go on to the next thing, which is Aries, which is also part of this lunar eclipse in many ways because Mercury is in Aries. So it's really cool how this is all like come about, Mary. It's just like blowing my mind.
Yeah, well, mind, Virgo, mind, nervous system. How we synchronize, how we, we have all, thoughts sometimes are like arrows. We've got a whole big old bucket of arrows or rocks for our slingshots or, pellets for the paint gun or the water gun or whatever. We're all loaded up. We have everything we need. And then there's, going to see if we can hit the bullseye. And so Virgo energy, when you look at the 2 signs that the planetary governor, Hermes, the messenger in Greek myth, legend, and lore, was the messenger of all these specific governing deities in the Greek and Roman myth, of the myths and the stories of that, the 12 labors of Hercules, for example, tuning into the Virgo energy, the 12 zodiac signs, the labors. The laboring is Virgo because Virgo is literally, when we think about before we get to the harvest season, when in the northern hemisphere, the autumnal equinox begins, that's Libra, and it's the harvest maiden. So she's got the harvest, but Virgo's doing the final work. So when we have spring equinox, as we're coming up on March 20th, for me, the true mystic, the true astrologer and mystics and earth medicine followers, new year, beyond any country or state or cultural belief, because to me, Mother Nature, Mercury and the Virgo and Gemini of the mind, the two signs that are ascribed to Mercury, the messenger, are Gemini and Virgo. So Gemini comes up with the brilliance and anybody ever thought about this? Hey, wonder if this would work, and Virgo implements it. Virgo sees if it's a tool, if it's actually an implement, an idea. Virgo will take it from just, I wonder if theory or creative impetus, and Virgo will actually find a way to light that fire. So Virgo is the boots on the ground, due diligence and the work and trial and error. If I don't hit the bullseye the first time with the paint gun, or I don't hit the target of my manifestation yet, Virgo helps us see, if you can step back from yourself, the Virgo part, the Mercury ruling Virgo in this lunar eclipse part is saying, slow down. Venus is already retrograde in Aries. Aries is always about initiation and moving forward, like we have with the sun on March 20th. Mercury literally retrogrades on the 15th after a few degrees, few minutes after this lunar eclipse blood moon has happened. So right now we're getting the creative and the emotional rise of what we're dissatisfied with. And with Virgo, when you look at the plus and minus of all the 12 celestial flavors, Virgo, it's okay to let the doubts come up on the table as talking points, as we'll blow holes in my theory, or what if the shoes don't fit, kind of a thing. So what if the numbers don't match? So Virgo's about the analysis so they can manage it into a win-win scenario. But make no mistake about it, Virgo is an energy that is unimpressed. Psychically, spiritually, mentally, physically, unimpressed type of energy currency becomes a debit if you're not applying yourself, if you're not sincere. I mean, you can kid and BS and procrastinate all kinds of people around you in your home life, your love life, your work. You can sell them, you can buy yourself more time. But when it comes to you and your soul mission and your soul contract, with all these planets that are sitting in the soulfully strong sign of Pisces, the supernatural, the paranormal, the rehabilitation, the crisis, and then the ascension, the resurrection, and then being able to get off the cross, the fishers of men. So this lineup with the sun and Saturn being very, very close together in a joint meeting, and we've got this energy, as Nicole was saying, of the karmic, the dragon's head, the north node, that's saying, I'm going to show you where to look now if you'll quit letting yourself get all distracted. Mars is in a water sign of Cancer right now. It's been going through its forward march, backward spin, forward again, and it's in the watery, oceanic sands of time, sign of the crab, the ocean crab. So we have the changing tides. We have the waves and the tides of destiny. We have high tide, low tide emotionally, because we're now being shown with this full moon, back to Virgo, the sign that it's in at 23 degrees, the dynamics, the mechanics, the strategies, and is it in alignment yet or not? Are the oils at the right level? Are the fluids at the right level? So if you need to clear your windshield when you're driving or flying, do you have the fluids? Do you have the pieces and parts that you need mechanically to be able to complete the mission in the best overall time with no complications or all kinds of safety measures put into place? Virgo is about taking the extra time to make sure everybody involved did it right the first time. So we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's, and this full moon is wanting us to look at areas where we did not review, realign, reset, check the toolbox of whatever we're working with, the tools of sales or marketing or promotion, or how we say what we say. Are we following through on our commitments of what we have said we would do, by when and with who? So Virgo is saying, tighten it up.
Yeah.
Tighten it up. It's boots on the ground time. This is the graduation from boot camp. Virgo is the graduation from any type of modeling school or military boot camp, or you've gotten to another high belt level in mixed martial arts or whatever you're into. This is like, oh, you had a hard ass test, and now we're going to show you where you're at. So this isn't just a whole lot of pluses, whole lot of minuses. I believe that this is a moon that, as Mother Nature and our heavenly fathers, this is the angelic, this is the divine source, this is, Nicole talked about, revelatory. We're both experiencing a test and involved in a graduation to another level, because for some people, Nicole, they're just understanding. They've heard the word, but they're just understanding life crossroads points, where the loops are, where we're the hamster in the cage, and we've got this embedded at a cellular level energy that's how we handle anger, how we handle crisis, how we want to disassociate, how we want to avoid conflict, and do we just freeze up, can't speak, look away when we do have to get into a chaotic, didn't expect that confrontation or crisis. So Virgo's about helping us check our fluid levels, our brake pads, and it's about, it's okay right now to be checking the jet or the boat or the car or your passport, or have they issued a travel alert for certain areas. Virgo's about doing the research, and slowing down is only going to let you have more viability of fun and adventure, because you got rid of all those things that could have been chaotic. And in the meantime, you just took the discipline to cross the T's, dot the I's.
Yes. And I think, what you said there too, like that graduation point is so important, because yes, we're in a Virgo Pisces axis, but Aries is very important right now, not just because the dispositor of this full moon is in Aries and is about to go retrograde, but also because we have a pile up of planets that are sitting in like that that Pisces area that is, it's, you've got Saturn, you've got the sun, right? You've got Neptune. Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is about to go into Aries in a couple of weeks, right? And so there's this, when you think about what Pisces is the womb. It's the moment before you step into the birth, right? And so, sorry, 1 second here. I realize I have the chat on. It's that moment that, you are ready to complete something. Pisces wants you to complete so you can move on and step into the world in a new way. That's that Aries energy. And so it really is about something has to come to a close in how you've been doing the work, the systems you use, the processes, your routines, your day-to-day habits, all of those things. There's something that's not working. And you've got to reconcile, very Virgo energy, you've got to reconcile what's not working and what is going to work so that you can make that transition into the new level, because you are at this graduation point.
Well, if you don't charge the cell phone when it's down to 1%, it's going to start malfunctioning even with all of its techie brilliance. If you don't charge your electric things, if you don't put enough gas in those vehicles or mowers or whatever that require that, then there's that preparation point, which is Virgo, that you miss the ball, so it's going to cause a delay. So with what Nicole was saying about, you look at signs and their governors. So Mercury, the depositor, the kind of like a stand-in general for this particular eclipse. Why? The full moon is happening in Virgo. I spoke about Mercury's kind of in charge and kind of a bigger deal when there's any kind of an event, big event happening in the sign of Gemini or Virgo. And so when Nicole says we're dealing with the Pisces-Virgo axis, Pisces and Virgo are signs that are polarity or opposite to each other. So where you think about a mountainside, Earth, Virgo, you think about the beauty of a forest and a hike and the waterfall in the mountains, or the lake, or the babbling brook. That's the water. That's the Pisces energy. So we're literally on a hike. We're literally walking through the lushness of the beautiful trees, and they're budding out for spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. And Virgo's about that invigorating, healthy power surge, energy, currency, cleansing and revitalization when you are out in nature, when you're on that boat, when you're fishing off the dock, when you're actually saying, oh my God, there's the oldest tree, there's the waterfall, oh my goodness, look, let's just sit by the babbling brook and let those sounds of that gushing water over the rock. That's Virgo Pisces type of energy. And we all know about how powerful and magical it is when you get the fortune of being seaside and you're standing on the sand right there seaside. Yeah, they got balconies. Every bit of real estate on a coastal thing gets taken up sometimes, but when you're actually barefoot on the sand, twilight has happened, the full moon is coming up, and you see the dolphins jump and the seagulls and the kiwis and the ibis are zooming around because dark 30's coming, and then you feel that pulsation of the sun is finally set. It's the few moments, the tween time between the actual sunset dropped and the moon's going to rise. And that twilight, that tween time, even there's two tween times. One is between sunset and actual dark, when you see that North Star, when the moon's rising up, or you see the first star, that's the twilight or the tween time, and then it's nighttime. And then the same thing is the few minutes before dawn, when there's all those muted colors because the sun hasn't risen yet. So pre-dawn is the other tween time. And this is that kind of celestial cocktail mix, because what we've got is we've got the energy of Virgo, but where Virgo wants to accomplish and order and put detail into the order, Mercury rules Virgo. So Mercury is kind of like the guy in charge of the sign of this full moon. But because Virgo is also opposite Pisces, we've got the Virgo Pisces thing in our own charts, in our own personal nativities or birth charts. The two houses of the moon being in Virgo automatically is lighting up all the other planets, but certainly the sun in the actual opposite sign of Pisces. So what we have right now is that time at the ocean before we go back to work. It's that time looking at the waterfall before we have to go make that big life decision. Virgo's got us looking at every single way. Should I break up? Should I commit more? Should I spend more? Should I deduct this? Is it a credit or a debit? Virgo's looking at the investment and at what price, at what cost. Pisces is saying, if I'm doing the work that I love, if I'm involved in something that I love, then that is so much a part of my soul passion. You know, it's the soul. It's when that heart and the soul are aligned, and then the mind goes, okay, well, let's get passionate about this. So on right prior to this lunar eclipse, over March 11th, because we're coming into the famous Roman, the Ides of March, you know, the great times of impact. And we've got two eclipses this month, bringing in more of this Aries factor, Neptune changing signs. First time that Neptune's been in the sign of Aries since 1861. Let me refresh your memory. Astrologers do things like they go back in history and they look at, wow, Neptune has not started the zodiac all over again since 1861. So the last time Neptune was doing what it's going to do on March 30th of 2025 was in 1861. Let me remember my history a little bit before I Google it or get on Grok or X. Oh, yeah, the Civil War was in full bloom in 18 when we got to 1865. So it was that momentum, that looking at civil unrest. Got to tell you, I can see it around the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the civil unrest, and it doesn't matter if you just step back with it. Step back and look at both the spiritual compassion in action, you know, those that just say, look, I don't even care about the details anymore. I just want peace. I want people to stop having guns and bullets and javelins and this and that over their head and pipelines being blown up and refuge. I don't want that. We're earthlings. I want peace. So Pisces is like, peace is what's important. And so prayers and meditations and ceremonies, as we come into equinox point, is about our beloved Mother Earth not being ravaged and various four-legged and winged ones and flying creatures and two-legged people, all as Earth citizens, aren't literally focusing all the time on the mental chaos or the vitriol or the divisiveness or I'm right, you're wrong, the shame, blame game. Virgo is like, God, can you guys not step back and see the bigger picture? It isn't ever about the personality. It's about how are you thriving? You don't just survive, it's time to thrive. So when we come united as a collective and we say, I don't need to define what I am, I'm for peace. I'm for peace. And I don't believe that you get to tell me how to be a peaceful person. I have to go out there and genuinely demonstrate that with my life, with my words, and with my actions. Pisces is the call for peace. So on March 11th, we had Mercury join in Aries with Venus. Venus already retrograde, Mercury turning retrograde in Aries. So if they're in Aries retrograding, they're backing up toward that final sign of Pisces again. So that's where Nicole's getting this. It's Pisces Aries. It's Pisces Aries. It's like it's not one flavor of ice cream. It's like if you think about butter pecan, or you think about Neapolitan, there's a stripe of chocolate and a stripe of vanilla, and then strawberry. So we've got this Pisces Aries Virgo coming in, and you can sit down with 3 flavors of ice cream to kids, or take, I want that, I want the vanilla, I want the chocolate, oh, I don't want the strawberry. That goes on. So it's like we've got a triad of flavors, the Virgo, the Pisces, and the Aries, that's wanting to, like ice cream, sweeten the whole scenario. But it's to thine own self be true, and physician heal thyself, which is the natural methods of therapeutic energy cleansing, energy vitality, whether you're doing Epsom salts to relax your muscles, putting turmeric in your salad dressing, your coffee grounds to have turmeric, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory for your pets or you. If we're looking at switching over to the spring essential oils, getting ready to grow things in our springtime gardens, the seeds of change. So we're at this seeds of change and letting go of the old, and Pisces is the emphasized sign. It's the opposed sign by the full moon. So Pisces is the one I would suggest, as a 35-year plus cosmic intuitive astrologer, Pisces is where the answers lie. As Nicole said, the whole turnaround of the embryo, the womb, the life, that what was feeding us, what was sustaining us before we actually had birth, which is the symbology of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Here's the new dawn. Here's the beginning. It's time to get moving. You've got to survive, breathe, move. So the Pisces part of it is like everything was supplied in the liquid effluvia of the biological mother's temple. The umbilical cord, her nutrients, her minerals, all of that was on a kind of watery leash that we call an umbilical cord. And so when you're taken either from a C-section, which is a little more traumatic, for a vulnerable creature entity, or whether you're in a natural birth and it's a little more difficult for Mama-san to go through the labor and the birth pains, or whatever that was for her, there's this high moment of trauma, and it throws us into that fight or flight, fear or faith. And so Pisces says to us, ultimately, no matter what you think you control, no matter how well you checked the car mechanically, no matter how innocent you are when you got on the jet or the cruise line and things went wonky, you did the best that you could do. So there's sometimes in life where fate has us run into that dynamic person that changes our emotional, romantic, personal life forever. And there's been lots of stops and starts to that. Pisces is that supernatural grace. It's that good karma. It's you are being bestowed heavenly favor because the divine, your higher self, your soul self, God gave us free will. We have choice here in this incarnation, in this current walkabout. We have choice to be good creatures, evil creatures. We have choice to feel and discern and decide what actions we're going to take that either benefit ourselves and others, or that we're just greedy, needy people that are victims of drama. So this particular full moon with the Pisces emphasis of Saturn likes control too. Saturn's, joining the sun here. Saturn likes to know the details and the control, and not on my watch you're not, and I have to take the blame if you don't do it right because I'm the CEO, so the buck stops here. So Saturn's coming into this saying, I said, pump your brakes, back your truck up. Before you leave work today, go over what you did and make sure your checklist is correct. Saturn doesn't care whether it wins a personality contest or not, or that you like it or not. Saturn is the rules. Saturn is getting the best out of the time. It's about time and the time management. So Virgo here is saying, have you ever, without blaming yourself, have you ever took a pause and looked at where you feel like that you've had some successes and you're thriving and you're okay with yourself and you're okay with how things turned out, whether you got your way or not? But have you ever stopped to also just process and just look without going, oh, I know I do that, or I know I could be stronger, or I know I'm kind of addicted? Don't even do any of that. Just stop and pause and look at what type of instance or theater keeps repeating in your life. Is it always you're the empath? Is it always there's the narcissist? Is it always you're the giver? Is it always that you feel like you're the third wheel or left out? Well, maybe you could start shifting and changing things within yourself in very peaceful, structured, Virgo, disciplined, lesson planned due diligence, repetitive muscle memory type of ways to where you get that, as Nicole spoke about the Virgo daily routine and what we choose to do in time management, what we prioritize, by the way. If you started to prioritize this, I'm going to at least look at the loops, look at my automatic pilot reactions, actions, and behaviors so I can do a course correction.
Yeah. Well, in speaking of, Saturn, Lord of Time, is kind of coming in and saying, because this is what's illuminating the moon, right? This is what's putting all the light on the moon in Virgo, because Saturn is right beside the sun here, very, very close. And Saturn is saying, hey, where are you spending your time? Is it actually paying off, or are you wasting time? Is it time to move on? Is it time to go forward? So, there's some illumination here where Saturn really wants you to get very honest and real with yourself about how you are spending your time. And when we look at Virgo, like on the processes, on the daily habits, on all these things that you're doing on the regular, okay? And ask yourself, is it really working? And to Mary's point, I'm going to give you a little flip. It's like, are you sometimes processing too much to the point where you get stuck in the processing and you're never moving forward? And that can also be something that a lot of us get stuck in, sometimes, and I know quite a few people, I used to be like this too myself, you get addicted to the healing, the processing, because it becomes your safe zone because you never have to move on, right? You can get comfortable. It's almost like when you are going through your spiritual awakening and you get really like involved in your meditations and talking to your guides and like doing all that stuff. And then you tend to isolate yourself because you're going so deep inward, right? Which there's nothing wrong with, but you can sometimes go into overdrive, overkill, and get so comfortable there that you forget that you need to also integrate with the people around you. You need to be social as well and take everything that you've learned through that spiritual awakening and start applying it to your relationship, start applying it in the real world. So that I feel like is what a lot is coming up with this lunar eclipse as well.
Truly. And if you look at the dynamics of the timeline, if you just look at it from a standpoint of whatever was supposed to be our blessings and what, as Nicole said, what was a drain on our energy, what were challenging chapters and scenarios and loops and crossroads points that we have. Those crossroad points that we have are often like a crisis point. It's like, oh, well, they downsized. I don't have that job anymore. Oh, I don't have that animal anymore. It ran off. It passed away. It reached the final time of its golden older age. Or, oh, that person passed away, and now I have to communicate. Mercury, Virgo. I got cavalier and naturally used to the fact that we wake up every morning, we talk on the phone, we go on hikes together, we go out to eat together. For some of us, it's our partners that we reside with and close our eyes with and wake up with and enjoy the morning, tea or coffee with. And then when that's not there, when the neighbor moves or when the relative has to go off for a while to another country on a job, it's like a point of like, ooh, that's stark. Boy, that's yesterday. So much can happen when we turn on a dime and something very sudden. I've had several dear people and clients that are struggling with Virgo rules of digestion, Virgo rules our style of how we take the news or give the news. And I've had several clients dealing with a little burp, let's say, that absolutely caught their attention, like, holy moly, to do with some medical blood results, medical tests, things like that. And it's interesting. These are people very much involved in spirituality and very conscious of making integrity choices. And so they're saying to me things like, it's so interesting of what that pain and where that pain throb is and how, boy, I'm such an active person, and that pain or that current situation or that area that fate has decreed that I need to pay attention more to, because at what cost, at what price, if I ignore the things, people, places, or things that are continually at cross purposes with my energy signature, if I'm allowing myself to be drained and I'm not charging my soul battery, my mental what field of passions and inspirations and creativity. These are areas of our how we think, our mental body, how we feel, our emotional, somatic, the actual, my mind's saying this, but my soul's saying this. And what Nicole just referenced to, when we feel the Virgo aspect is I've got to direct it and control it and attend to every minute detail, because it takes all of that in the recipe. Some people get high anxiety if they don't control everything. They got to double. Did you do this? Did it happen yet? Now, wait a minute. What? Even though they hired somebody, they've got to go out and make sure they're going to do it a certain kind of way. It's okay to say, these are my key things. I hired you for this. I'd like this done. What say you? How do you do it? Rather than having to control every step of it. That's where the need to control it and direct it on everything, big or small, that can cause a different kind of anxiety if you don't get to direct it or be in control, where when people are avoiding things that need a little direction or they need to be decluttered, it's like you realize you're becoming a hoarder, or can you not go through those papers? And have you thought about, straightening up the closet or the garage to see what you really need to keep or not? This is on a soul level, decluttering and organizing the inside of us. And we're talking about what are we spending our vital force energy on. Let's just do an approximation in your earth temple. Let's say that whatever you believe spiritually, religiously, that you've been granted the probability, the average of maybe 80 summers walking the planet before you go back to where you came from. Something happens for you. Let's just say that's an average. Some will go sooner, some will go later. And so when you start to prioritize, what about my stuff? What about what holds me back? What about me always backing up on that or being so confrontational on this? What about that is costing me too much of the potential 80 to 90 summers I have walking this earth life for this time? It kind of puts things into a perspective. And the Aries energy that's beginning to come in, the final Aries North Node type of thing, the North Node of Aries Libra, South Node was there for the last year and a half. Now we've shifted into Pisces Virgo as far as all the eclipses. This will be that last Aries eclipse, the solar eclipse we have over the 28th and 29th, that new moon, the sun and moon in Aries. That's when we start to step forward and we either take the key out of the door, go rent something else, go move somewhere else, start the car, change cars, whatever we're going to do. But it's about that signature of releasing. This is, until we get to March 20th through the 29th, this is a healing, clearing, old, stagnant, dense energies. We're shifting gears into an intuitive flow of releasing. It would be very good for you to have a heart-to-heart, eye-to-eye conversation with yourself or your dearly beloved about, am I running on empty? Am I pushing myself too much? Am I really vulnerable and nervous about how this thing could go? So I have to keep checking it. I have to keep scrolling. I have to keep comparing. I have to, whatever, keep criticizing myself instead of putting the Piscean energy into it that says, thank you, Great Spirit, Great Mystery, my beloved, hallowed guides. Thank you for being the director of my prosperity. Thank you, Great Spirit, Holy Spirit. Thank you, archangels, for fortifying me. Thank you for guiding me into the best aspects of my energy, my wellness. Thank you for bringing me the right people, the right systems, and the right knowledge to do the best I can with all of me.
Well, and also to that letting go of that perfectionism, that need to control that you're talking about. Pisces is about surrender.
Yep.
Let go.
Yes.
Let go. That is like, it's like, just let it go, and I will say, and I just want to read here too, in the chat, Seeking What Is True said, this comfort of processing something where you end up staying there or aren't actually moving forward is so subtle and real. And it is. It's very subtle. It's sneaky.
Yep.
You don't realize it until it's like, oh, snap. And you know what? This full moon, this lunar eclipse in Virgo, it is a wake-up call. It is, all eclipses are. They are very fated events, and it's destiny stepping in to say to you, no more. Change must happen whether you like it or not. So depending on where you fall, over this eclipse and next eclipse, if you've been doing some of the work, if you've been recognizing some of these things that this eclipse is shining light onto, illuminating for you, then you may find this eclipse to be more easy of a transition, more easy of a change. However, if you've been dragging your heels, if you've been fighting and resisting the change, then you are going to feel a little bit of a cosmic slap across the face this week and into next. And that's okay, because that just means that, you're kind of needing it. And what's so also jarring about this particular lunar eclipse is that it is in a very tight aspect. Now, it is a nice aspect. It is a trine to Uranus in Taurus at 24 degrees. And so Uranus, big change, big revolution. Okay, so not only do we have the change of the eclipses coming in that are very faded, but we have Uranus wanting to also revolutionize something for you, take you by surprise, bring in something groundbreaking for you. And it is in the sign of Taurus, which I want all of you to ask yourself, because this is what I believe might be happening, at least one side of it. What do you value most in your life? Okay, where are your values deeply, deeply rooted? Because there might be something in your life that needs to change in order to align to those values. And it's going to be something that's going to get reflected through your Virgo and your Pisces areas of your chart. Okay, so Uranus is saying, hey, we need progress. We need to look at the future. We need to think about the big vision that we have for ourselves. And where you are right now is not getting the job done. And so Uranus is coming in to shake it up, but it's coming in a helpful energy. It's kind of coming in this kind of like, we're going to go arm in arm together with this, So it's interesting. It's bringing in sudden opportunities or changes. And of course, with eclipses, sometimes they don't look like positive change at the beginning, but in the end, it's always for your highest good. Like, how are you perceiving and feeling into this Uranus energy that's affecting the lunar eclipse, Mary?
It's an innovative, it's like an enthusiastic stimulus, because you've got Mars in Cancer, and so the water and the earth signs genuinely understand each other's element. There's a lot of empathy and compassion there, and so they join forces together to blend the alignment process. And so when you've got Mars in Cancer, that's water. Saturn, the Sun, the North Node, they're all water. Neptune until the 30th in the late degrees of the water. Saturn's pretty late degree. So Saturn in Pisces, the Pisces element is absolutely oceanic compatible with the crab at the seashore. Yeah, those get along, and that's giving us a deeper dive and a more thorough look at what our foundation is, what's underneath the surface. We surfacely show a mood, or we put on our social faces. So the underneath of the Pisces factor of us is, how am I doing within myself at this job with this person? How am I doing emotionally? How am I doing psychologically? Am I beginning to unearth? Am I getting to get a little nervous even though someone's reaching out into me and wanting to know me better and love me and engage in some kind of social or positive romantic, move a little closer dynamic? Am I freezing up? Am I going, no, I've got to dive deep. No, I'm afraid I'll drown. I don't think I'm ready yet. Run away. And so, I'll be with you temporarily, but I'm going to probably push you away. That's that Pisces insecurity dynamic, regardless of our sign. And the Virgo is, well, if you would just be honest with yourself, yeah, you might be a little vulnerable. You might be a little scared to say that or reach out again or not make the first step, but certainly be Virgo enough to respond to someone's inquiry or interest into you. There's Venus retrograde involved with this. There's the Uranus in Taurus, which is saying, I'll help you be practical. I'll help you cover, get to your top 3 questions and your top 3 hopes for this interview, for this new job, for this new city or state to live in, this new relationship. Why don't you just work on getting comfortable until about April 12th or 13th? Why don't you let this stimulus help you practice and get comfortable for stating what your needs are, believing that you deserve it and that you don't have to take less, and believing that you don't have to direct or control or bully anybody and think that everybody's going to be competitive and try to steal yours from you. There's all these different aspects of what's going on with this. The Aries element is me first, then I might look at you once I got to get myself together. So Aries sometimes are clueless that everything that they're engaging other people in, ultimately thinking about, why can't I do that? Or how come they get more attention about that than I do? So the Aries in us is the inner child going, and I want to do this. Why? Well, I like this game. Is this going to be fun to play? I'm bored with that now. And sometimes Aries gets right down to just the guttural no or kind of a thing. So we're in that process of burning away. The Aries is burning away the old way. The Saturn will shift into Aries this year. Mars is going to go into fire by late spring, summer into Leo. So what's happening is we're supposed to be looking at the ingredients of our emotional, our spiritual, our gut level. You know, Virgo's the digestive. Virgo's like what's your gut telling you to do. Pisces is the feet that walk us into or help us walk away. So it's everything to do with all the nerves in our feet and the second heart, if you will, that's in the stomach area. So it's got to do with what's our instinct and what's our intuition. Why are we fighting with that? Our intuition is our soul antenna, and it receives the broadcast and the transmissions from the divine connection that we always have been part of. And I like this particular full moon because I believe it's giving us the mechanics with Mars in Cancer, Uranus in Taurus, and all these Pisces energies. I believe because the Cancer and the Taurus part get along with the moon in Virgo too. So it's only the opposition to the Pisces. But oppositions in signs are kind of a stimulus too. It's kind of like, okay, there's your new battery, now go. So what the go factor is it's absolutely okay for me to recognize where I'm a little afraid to dive in or to test the waters with my big toe. But having said that, let me weigh and measure. Am I more weary, hesitating yet again, not to make any type of formidable changes in that manifestation, in that construction, if I were a piece of pottery, of turning me into the best, better version of myself? Virgo can help us do that too.
Yeah. And I will say this before we get into all the signs and everything. With Uranus and Taurus, I just want to say, your little Taurus sun over here is about to blow a lot of minds out of the Pisces water. Okay. Next Monday on March 17th. So if you're wanting to completely get a new healing strategy, one that actually gets you real world transformation, one that gets you out of the processing, gets you out of the looping, gets you out of all of this deep diving shadow work, which always plays an important role, but you never want to get stuck there. You don't want to think it's just one more thing. It's time to see where you're at, because at the end of the day, it's not you who's broken, but your healing process might be a hot mess. So I am here to shake your mind up. I'm here to wake your mind up and completely blow things out of the water for you next Monday. I'm leaving the link for that in the description below. But this is such an important time. March is a very powerful month, very, very powerful month. And before we go into all signs, Mary, do you want to just maybe give a little quick lowdown on this Mercury retrograde that's going to be going into motion, so to speak, the day after this eclipse?
Yeah, it's first we have the ruler of Mercury, one of the signs Mercury rules, Virgo, being illuminated just ahead of the Mercury retrograde. Now, most people, even that are beginner novices in astrology, love to be at the cocktail bar talking about, Mercury's retrograde. That's why that happened. So, but it does that at least 3 times a year. And Mercury's going to retrograde in Aries back into Pisces. And the dates are going to be right at the Ides of March, March 15th through April 7th. So when you have Mercury in the, I want to do it now. I want to buy it anyway. I want this new, shiny, happy, pretty thing now because it's going to be the dopamine and the serotonin boost that I need right now. A whole lot of that's okay right now. A whole lot of that's okay. Understand that you might be better off picking the more temporary type of pretties, the dress that you could wear one time and you're fine, the go see that movie or go do what you can do that would be like a quick adrenaline type of rush, and then don't be so attached that the next 7 days need to be exactly the same as when you got that serotonin dopamine rush. So at Mercury and Aries is like, I'm a little bored, getting a little bored too quick, getting a little rebellious, getting a little contentious. I don't want to do the chores. I don't want to do my catch-up work. Aries can kind of rebel like a little kid on, okay, I told you could get your allowance and would drive you to get the pizza and the ice cream, but you got to go do your chores. I don't want to. Well, I guess you don't want pizza and ice cream then. So Saturn will come back going, eh. So this is a time where we're also having a simultaneous benefit as far as the loop correction is concerned, the hamster off the hamster wheel, and the hamster can actually be put down on the ground and go, oh my God, there's a whole forest out here. Aries can help us invite that, help us to see the bigger picture that way as well. And so there's this energy right now that's saying, I could take baby steps. I could put just the tops of my toes in the water and shuffle my way out in the ocean a little bit. I don't just have to be an adrenaline junkie and just dive off the high dive or go into the deepest part of the ocean off the boat first. So it's going to back up into Pisces. And so the basis of this, because as Nicole was talking about the healing work that she's going to do on March 17th, let me remind you, like I've been talking about the Ides of March, be aware of the Ides of March. Some old texts say beware the Ides of March. It's like a big pre-spring course correction, like a thing. Okay, you're coming out of winter, you're coming out of winter solstice, you're coming out of the hibernation and the cold period into new life, new birth, as Nicole was saying, from Pisces to Aries. So right now we're in those psychological, psychic, dream, symbology, psychic visions, psychological quagmires that are showing us, isn't this interesting? I've had that symbol in my dream 3 times. I had someone say to me on the street the other day, and I overheard it in a cafe, the very thing that I was questioning in my meditation or my prayers this morning. That was a sign. Pisces is literally signs and wonders to behold. I'm excited about that part of it. The Mars in Cancer amplifies that. So as we come to St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, going forward for this Aries eclipse, the Mercury retrograde is showing us, just like we get a curriculum, or you get the outline for writing a book, or your notes for doing your podcast and when you're going to take a break. Mercury retrograde is like, okay, here's what you want to present. Got to make it interesting. Got to get on the point and also leave them intrigued and wanting more. Just basic media principles. Engage your audience. So Mercury in retrograde is helping us sharpen our skills. The Pisces part of it will invite your very own intuitive antenna to be hoisted at its very best ability to receive the transmissions of the divine. So the antenna is not the problem. The actual mechanics of spirit walking beside you, your guides, your angels, the communications, Mercury, the communications, Venus, what we value, what we hold space for that makes us feel secure either romantically or financially. Venus is all about our worth, our values, and what we need to just let go of. So we've got those two joining forces on March 15th. Venus still retrograde as Mercury begins retrograde, to soften the blow, soften the crisis potential and the fault lines of a retrograde motion. Venus is going to soften that because they started in the same sign in Aries. So Venus is going to soften it. She rules the opposite sign of Aries. She rules Libra. So when she's in Aries, she's like, don't have to be so gruff and rough. Don't have to huff and puff and blow the damn house down to make your point. Leave room for other people to respond. Allow other people to voice their concerns, their fears, their creativity, and their opinions. So Pisces is like, let's draw it out of them. Aries is like, I said, and the only way or the highway. So what we have to do is we have to let Aries go first. The Aries part of it's going, well, I tell you what I'm not going to do anymore, and I tell you what will never happen again. We all got that. We all got to do that again. I'm not going to be made fool of this time. So we get all that, like, what's really going to motivate you. Let's look at what motivates you. And so then when it goes into the Pisces factor, which this full moon is already assisting us with psychologically, psychically, it's enhancing and opening the doors, the garage door, all the doors are open, and our intuitive chamber is now being illuminated. All this Pisces stuff, and Mars and Cancer and Uranus, the innovative, Pluto in Aquarius is all saying, baby, it's got to be a different way, baby. It's got to be a different way. It's high soul time. It's a higher vibe type of a thing. And here's an example let me give you some words before we go to the signs that have to do with Pisces, in case you forgot. 1, you are a soul in a human disguise. You are a living, paranormal, supernatural, multi-manifesting myriad of dimensions and energies inside an earth body temple. How do I know whether I'm functioning on other dimensions and levels or not? Probably. Everything else is surprising that you taught and then you find out. So you are a soul wearing a human garment, a human disguise. 2, you're here also to enjoy remembering who you are and what you are and why it is. So that's a journey and a process too. It's a vision quest. Number 3, what you love, what you're drawn to, and what you love is the magnet and the key to your purpose. And number 4, your challenges are meant to trigger your growth and heal the fault line, heal what was broken. So challenges or postponements or crisis points or just rough, harsh things that happen to us aren't meant to be a punishment. They're to trigger. They're to sometimes we need to be kind of prodded to course correct and be the hero that overcomes, the superhero to ourselves as well. And then I'll conclude that part of it with this. There really are no mistakes, only lessons. And as I said on my new moon podcast, the energy that was summing up for the Pisces new moon that was ignited over February 27th and 28th, which is the new moon tied to this full moon in Virgo, was, I said, risk, taking the risk and risking it, taking the risk is often much better than regret.
Yes, I would say so. Because the biggest regret is never doing it at all. So I completely agree with you.
That leaves you still in a state of limbo. It still leaves you in limbo. Like if we don't do it, we're thinking, I wonder if I should, wonder if I could. Then if we shut, no, I'm too chicken shit. I'm not going to do it. It's okay not to be ready, but if you know you love it and you're drawn to it and you don't do it anyway, then there's that part of you that started in limbo loop and remains in limbo going, what if?
Well,
wonder if. So,
and to that point, South Node in Virgo is saying, hey, stop waiting for perfectionism. Stop waiting for everything to perfectly align. Just step forward and surrender. Pisces, surrender, trust.
Kneel to the divine. Often for me, a lot of times, my prayer, my base level prayer, my foundational prayer is, Holy Ghost, breathe me. Holy Spirit, breathe me. Holy Spirit, I acquiesce to you. I genuflect to you. I bow to the divine light. I bow to love's light. I absolutely bow. Direct it. Guide me. I will obey. So it's very much that disciple to the divine type of relationship. I don't think I have it all figured out. I don't think I know it all. I always see results and manifestations as I continue to watch the signs, understand the discomforts, overcome the fright factors and the paralysis of fear psychologically or physically. You don't have to over push yourself, but you've got to also find that middle ground. If something always scares you, it has a seed, it has an origin. You can do therapy with it. You can do acupuncture. You can, do different types of dream course meditations and all of that, and chants. And like for me, when we come up to this type of full moon, and this is just me, I take one of my most beautiful antique goblets, like very collectible, and I'll put in it either a particular beautiful, healthy bottled water, Icelandic or Volvic or some kind of like mineral infused water. And in my zone, in the Eastern Daylight Time zone, the eclipse and the blood moon dynamic starts around 2:55 a.m. and zooms, and I'll get up and zooms into the 3:30 type of thing. So at that point where the Earth's shadow creates the moon to go into that amber orangey, why they call it the blood moon type of a thing, to me that's very much like communion. It's very much like baptism. And so what I do is I either put my elderflower liqueur, because that's a Virgo holistic liqueur of the elderberry, the flowers of the elderberry, and it's dark purple. That's Pisces. So I'll take Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, and I put that in that very healthy infused water, and I put that in that special goblet, and I do not touch it. I don't take a sip of it. Once I pour it, I go outside. And between that 2:55 to 3:55 time frame, I allow the baptism of the light. I allow the fire of the starlight, the stars, the sun, at this lunar eclipse. I allow the baptism by fire of Great Spirit, the Holy Spirit. When I drink that Chambord or that wine or that water with the elderflower, the holistic liqueur, when I drink that, I literally hear in my head, take and drink. This is in remembrance of me. So I simultaneously do a deliberate spiritual communion, and I also do a baptism because I want it to be a recalibration as I'm leaving the old year with this particular time frame. I'm leaving the old year. This is a blood moon, lunar eclipse in Virgo, my wellness, my physical, honoring my physical body temple and course correcting the way I believe and how I think and how I might get optimal results with that. And so I will do that at that time frame. Now, does that take the Virgo discipline to not be lazy, stay in bed, get up, have everything ready and prepared so I can get up at 2:30 a.m., 2:45 a.m. and be out there under the moon in that time frame of when I, in my longitude and latitude, start to see the shift in the moon. I'll be in the mountains. It'll be very clear. We're gonna have a clear night. And when I actually see that happen, that's when I do my prayers, especially starting out with gratitude and how I give thanks for this life and my ability to really embrace it, to be grateful for it and be the best that I can. When I give thanks for my life and my wellness, no matter what's going on with you medically, you can't keep focusing on the negative. I give thanks for my life. I allow blessings and fortification of my body. I bless this life. I know I'm an instrument, and I choose with my God-gifted free will to be an instrument of peace and of harmony and of prosperity as I walk about this earth. I will be the example of that, of authenticity and integrity. I'm not for everybody. Everybody's not for me. I will back off any kind of dark, nefarious, shadowy, demonic energies. I will not allow that to what? Cost me my vital life energy, take my energy, cost me my time and my livelihood. I don't have to prove anything to that. I choose to move with the light-minded, love frequency vibrations. And so therefore, if I'm a magnet, I need to know what I'm drawing to me. That's the water and the earth signs. If I am electrical, that's the fire and the air signs. So as we're shifting into Aries, that's the fire, the holy fire, the divine fire, the wellness fire, the faith fire, the glory of the heavens and earth in union, as above, so below. And even the tarot cards before I do the signs, when you look at the energy of the Piscean factor, it's the high priestess. If you look at the factor of the Virgo, it's the hermit, it's the disciple, it's the monk, it's the nun, it's the ascetic, it's the person that isolates, as Nicole talked about for a while, in order to fully discipline themselves and focus on their wellness and what really matters in this life, with money, with health, with physicality, the choices of all of that, whether I just go wild and stay stoned all the time, or I also, want to do things to help my earth body, chiropractic, whatever it is, my eating habits. It's new choices with that. That's the cycle that we're in. It's new choices to do it better, love ourselves more, stop blaming another and being the victim, and stop blaming or shaming ourselves for why did that happen to me this lifetime? That was then, this is now. Give away the suitcase. Don't just unpack it. Give it away, because Pisces is saying, I am the fire of wellness and wholeness and the soul fire. I'm the reason that we connect with everything that's got to do with spirituality when I'm allowed to fully function and not seek escapism. And so the Pisces part of us is going and parting the seas, being able to see it a different way. And as I talked with someone the other day in a session, I said, if you look at the word emergence, you're emerging from something. The butterfly's emerging from a cocoon. The little chick is emerging from the egg. It's coming out of the embryonic egg, and it's pecking its way out, and it's new life. It's not encased in the egg anymore. It's not a caterpillar in chemical meltdown. It's now emerging as a butterfly. Well, look at the word emergency. Sometimes we will see, S-E-E, an emergency will happen in our life, a crisis or something where we go, oh no, holy crap, oh shit, I can't believe that just happened. What am I going to do now? Sometimes there will be an absolute exclamation point. Eclipses are that say to us, if you'll just look at this, if you'll be willing to look and to see it from different perspectives, you probably won't have to have a crisis or an actual emergency situation happen that forces you to be moved on the chess game of life. One way or the other, we'll get moved, because I kind of sort of believe now that our soul contract said, look, these are your variables, and this is your dharma, this is your soul work, this is what you came here to do and to mainly be a part of. And so you can go left or right and get off the course and accelerate on your path, or take a side journey if you want to. But this is what you signed on to do. It's why you even chose to come here in the first place. And so this part of your path, this part of the course is like something that you said, absolutely, I stay on course. If I start to waver off of this lifetime, guides, angels, people that I meet in this lifetime, point it out, ask me if I'm sure that's what I want to do, or Holy Spirit, just knock it out of my life. Just knock it out of my way. Without pain, I choose without pain. Because most people, those wake-up calls happen with some kind of loss or pain.
Yeah.
Something got taken away. Something all of a sudden, the storm happened, the hurricane, the fires, that shock. When I say shock and awe, signs and wonders to behold, it doesn't mean it's always easy. Sometimes, just like another word play, the word enlightenment, enlightening up, as you work with Nicole, enlightenment, the light that's meant to be will overshadow. You can stay in the shadows only so long when the big guns are going to, okay, yeah, we gave Mary a chance there. So now get that soul spotlight over there. Yeah, blaze that crap right there, because no, she's not going to keep going on that loop now. Look here. Here's her original contract before she came back from the other incarnation or off on the other galaxy or whatever it is. She said she's got to stay the course on this. So, light it up. Light it up. I absolutely believe that. For me. I absolutely believe that. If I'll pay attention to the signs, I don't have to have pain as a baseball bat whack me on the head to get my attention. I don't have to learn my lessons through the roughness of loss or abandonment or avarice or thievery. I don't have to do that. I don't have to have that happen to me. I certainly won't do it, but I don't have to have that happen to me to go, why did they acted so nice? And then I can't believe. So I don't have to have the vampires. I don't have to have the villains come into my life, because I've made the contract. I'm mystically married. I absolutely am married to what the heavenly force wants me to do. And I don't have to be married in a court or dedicated to just one belief or one religion. I've studied a lot of different cultures, and I can tell you truth is truth. And it's how we act it out and how we show up and behave that matters with your spiritual signature or not.
Yes.
So Pisces is our spiritual signature. And to what Nicole was saying, how much of that have you invested in? How much do you commune with your spiritual signature? You may have been raised in Sufism or Judaism or Native peoples' beliefs or Druid or Celtic or Catholic or Baptist or Church of Prophecy or agnostic. But how you live your life is a demonstration of what you really believe, whether you're conscious of it or not. What you're going out there and doing, what you're going out there and allowing, and what you're choosing, it's different for you, and yet you're acting a certain way and you're avoiding some of the power that you've absolutely been blessed with this lifetime. Just because you decide something's good for you doesn't mean it's bad for you if other people disagree with you. Mm-hmm. It's you and your God. It's you and your spiritual self, your soul star, your thinking, your intelligence, your creativity, the emotional, the touch, the somatic, the psychological. It's all a recipe. And so if I check in with, that seems a little bit psychologically out of line, that issue's coming up. So I'm good physically. I'm doing really well holistically, riding a good wave emotionally. But boy, it's why even the Bible calls them mental snares or strongholds. So they got a stronghold in their mind. That's the same thing when Nicole's talking, when we're talking about loops. Caught in a loop, a stronghold means you're still tethered. You're still leashed. You've got an arrest bracelet. You've got a monitor bracelet around your ankle because you're still tied to that memory, that energetic circuitry. You're bound devil. By that. So
like in the tarot.
The monitor off of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bound to the materialistic, the 3D scenarios. It's not just about greed or addiction monetarily. It's where's the taunt and the haunt, and when it becomes a snare, which is another word for a trap door. When it becomes a stronghold, it's got too strong of a hold on you, psychologically and mentally. So what we're suggesting with the psychological and celestial swirl right now, the cosmic forecast is in your favor, that we're not so caught up in just going ahead with all that Aries energy when Venus and Mercury are retrograde to encapsulate it. And we've got Mars in a soft sign in Cancer saying, feel it, feel it. What are you dreaming? What are you feeling? How's that mood different? How's that mood? What are you feeling? It's what's going on with your emotional intelligence, because it's its own realm too. You know, what do you want to reach out for? What do you want more of? What made you feel good today? And what made you pull back? That's that touch therapy, somatic, emotional, psychological thing. So that's where the Pisces, and that's where the Uranus and Taurus, the body, the earth body, you know, boy, that was really fun. Boy, I needed that. I just sat down for 15 minutes out in the afternoon sun, and it did so much for me. Or that really was a good meal at that restaurant, or it really was fun to go take the dog to that place. It was fun. I needed that, because we disconnected with the on-demand of this 3D world. And I promise you, as I've held people's hands as they were taking their last breath, how much money they had in the bank, what all shit was in their house, what, you know, who was getting what, none of it becomes a priority when they're beginning to just slip their skin. Yeah, so stop being overly bound by the rigors of third dimensional life, how much money you're making, the bills pestering you. Stop it. They're there anyway. Don't let them become a snare or a stronghold, because other things will come up as opportunities cosmically for you to be able to, are you called to do that donation or send that tithe to bless somebody else or grant them some time? It isn't always about money, but I think as humans, it's good for us to actually do the money thing. Yeah, right into somebody's hand, because it's tangible for us. It's like it came out of our little life force bank account type of a thing. So it's good for us to just, when the intuition hits us saying that's calling to your spirit, go do something about that. Oh, okay. I mean, if that happens to me, I'm up. I'm involved. So it's because out of the blue came a call for me to be a part of something that spirit thinks I'm a match for. Yeah. I don't need to know why spirit thinks I'm a match to that. Spirit said, it's like Simon says, I said, go cut that person a check. I said, go mail that in the envelope. I said, go feed that animal. I said, go foster that animal. And so, oh, okay. So it can be out of the blue, and it can be very surprising, but you will emerge a new creature with more gifts and be more fortified, because you handled that emergency, something that spirit didn't want to punish you, but had to slow down your current trajectory on your intersections of just go wing, go wing, go wing, keep on going on the road again, a job and this. And no, all of a sudden spirit said, you need to do this. This is going to be, this looks one way, but it's so much more. Yeah. You know, when I went through any kind of health challenges, it got me to people I needed to meet that I would have never met. Well, I'm theoretically saying I probably would have never met if I didn't go through 9 months of physical rehab, or where I lived at the time when that physical challenge, that bone break happened. I mean, the horse and the people, I would have never been involved in some of that. It was a side journey. It was a side path. But what I gained in the frustration and the immobilization and the comeback that I had to do after having metal pins and stitches and all that, I was able to understand the Buddhist 8 precepts like I had never understood it, with all the study that I have done in different temples in Florida and different places to understand the Buddhism, and like I did the Native American. I lived it. There were things that had to go financially. There were things I couldn't work with. It was like a complete freeze frame. You thought this year was going to be this, but now it's going to be that. Now, what say you? You're either up for it or you're not. How about all that Reiki training and all the astrology that you know and everything that you know and the mystic that you came in to be and everything you got from your grandmother and your herbs? Let's say you put it into, so when Nicole's talking about shadow work and the spiritual work and the awakening, I guarantee you, watch Nicole's reaction. Neither one of us are going to say it's an easy course. Yeah, no. There will be hard race car roller coaster events that propel you forward in your life. They're not always easy breezy, but can you stay steady and not be attached to the outcome and become, learn what you need to learn about yourself and how you do it? That's the beauty of it.
Yes. So let's move on to the all signs because we're already at the 1 hour, 15-minute mark. So for everyone there, we're going to go through all signs. And I assume, Mary, you're going to start with Aries, just so everyone keeps it simple. Or were you going to start with Pisces? I don't know.
Yeah. No. I was going to start with Virgo because it's a Virgo full moon. No, I like for beginning students as well as advanced. There's a reason that because there's so many planets moving at different speeds and things that are going on and leap years and all that we astrologers have to calculate. The reason we'll start with Aries, besides it being the first sign, is that it lets people start to learn the order of the signs. Aries is the first one, Taurus is the second. So it lets us kind of help teach you that. It's kind of like that muscle memory that I told you about with energy. So number one, let me give you the 4 signs that are most impacted in the spotlight of, not only is it the full moon in 2025, it's the last full moon of the mystical old year, because spring equinox happens on March 20th. So, and this is a full moon that's in the series of the nodal shift that happened in January of this year. So now we have the full moon in Virgo, and what we're going to have, we got just that last Aries solar eclipse that comes up for you Aries that we're starting on now and over that new moon of the end of March. But we're also, the next eclipses are going to happen in the Virgo time in September. So the 4 signs that are most feeling like there's some kind of timeline, dimensional shift, that they feel like they're in between, that's going, this is coming. Boy, this is an interesting thing. They're getting their tickets. They're boarding the plane. They're getting on the jet. They've gone through security. The suitcases have been, taken onto the belly of the jet type of a thing. So you're in the process of going down the tarmac, boarding the plane type of a thing. If you're a Virgo, a Pisces, an Aries, a Cancer, that's because of the Mars type of dynamic and what's going on with the Neptune and the next eclipse coming up. But in general, those signs, and what I would say now for professional astrologers, Virgo and its opposite Pisces, also Gemini and its opposite Sagittarius. Why? That's the 4 mutable signs. This is a mutable sign, full moon. So when you have you have elements, fire, earth, air, water, and then you have characteristics. Is it mutable? Is it cardinal? Is it fixed? So this is a mutable. So things are changeable. Things are pliable. There's negotiations. There's options that can come up. And for Aries, this energy is lighting up the Virgo area for Aries. So the 6th house, when Aries starts the zodiac, the 6th sign, 6th house is Virgo. So for you, Aries, it's more of a Virgo type of presentation, because you've been having the innermost part of you stirred up with all the Pisces stelliums. All the planets in Pisces have been hitting the sign before yours, as Nicole said earlier, the embryonic, the new birth, my form is finally, the fruit is finally ripening and getting ready to go from the blossom to the actual nut or the fruit on the tree, and then drop when the orange is ripe or the apple or the pear. So the fruit is ripening for you, Aries. And what's happening is Virgo is the strategic way that you prime it, or that you fine tune something, or that you're playing the guitar and it's just like, oh man, that right there, that harmony, or you actually find the guitar or find the piece of equipment that absolutely is a sweet spot for you to continue with what you love to do with your creative passion. So Aries right now are feeling like, with all the Pisces energy that hit before this full moon in March, Aries people are feeling like, because they've got Saturn coming up into Aries and Neptune is going into Aries on the 30th, right around that, just a couple hours after that new moon hits and solar eclipse in Aries. Aries people are saying, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm very cognizant. I'm very aware lately of too much demand on me, of others expecting me to cover the base and do this and do that. And it's not that I need the applause. It's not that I need the recognition, but I feel like it's way off kilter. It's off balance. People are being lazy. They're not doing what they say they're going to do. So my spiritual work, obviously, instead of getting pissy all the time and getting, a little butthurt over it, if I need to say, the way I've been doing it isn't bringing optimal results. I'm not going to allow that anymore. I'm not going to just let it be that way anymore. I'm going to say right in the beginning, listen, just so we're clear, I do this, I don't do that. You want to do this, you need to do that. That, you know, instead of just like assuming, you know what they say about assuming, you know, assuming that because I said this is what I want, that they would automatically get what I was saying. Sometimes you Aries people assume that other people totally get what it is that you want them to do and what their commitment is. Aries want people to be a team player. Their balance sign is Libra. So they want the collaboration. They want the backer. They want the producer. They want the benefactor. They want the people that also would be able to see the dream they're wanting to pursue, invest in the dream, and not throw it up in their face all the time. Now, at the same time, the minus or the lazy side of Aries is they get the backer, they get the promoter, they get the new equipment or the artboard or the, well, you know, somebody builds them a studio, and then they start, you know, slacking off and not coming through with what they could do. So right now, Aries, in a nutshell, everything to do with is your day-to-day routine, your habits, your system of how you pay attention. And when, if you're really honest with yourself, you know that you all of a sudden do a lot of things last minute, then you slack off for most of the time. So your procrastination might get you in trouble. You're not making the notes, not following through. Yeah, that's a big game changer there. You could lose a benefactor or a promoter or an actual event by that. So you need to be able to think tank and speak your mind well before, key sentence, well before you even start to get irritated or you start to feel insecure. You got to go ahead and ask the question. Just say, listen, just so I understand, could you say that to me in a different way? Or I don't want to assume. So it's what I need to do for this amount of money, or what we are going to do for this amount of time investment and money is this, and this, that. I want to hear what not just the expectations are, but I also want to be able to respond with what I feel I can do or not. So Aries, it's a real soul searching time, but it is involved with what work they want to do, what tasks they don't want to do anymore. And I think that Aries people right now, I'm going to suggest this to you, that you stop griping and bitching and actually implement daily, hourly wellness and health and holistic habits. Like, you've got to pay attention to what you're eating and what kind of energy it's giving you or taking away from you. If you don't like the image that you see in the mirror, that you think you're lazy and you're too big or you're too little, or you don't like your hairstyle, shut up and invest in yourself and start to try something different and improve it. Go buy a self-tanner. You know, start eating salads for 2 weeks if you want to have a fast weight loss type of a thing. Salads and protein. If you want to gain weight, then start looking at smoothies that would help give you the muscle mass that you want. And if you don't have the money to go work out at a gym or take a yoga class, go to your local shelter and walk the dogs. It's free, and you'll get to benefit with some animal medicine. But Aries they kind of got to change everything. Like, I feel like Aries, you need to look back to when we had this very kind of eclipse energy that was back in March of 2006. Just go look at who left your life, what came into your life, what course corrections came in almost by a dominant, fated, you know, destiny danced into your life and just took that away and put that in, kind of a thing. Look at the beginnings and the endings that hit in the springtime of 2006. If you're Taurus, this energy is lush. It's about really letting the blooming. The seed planting's already happened, Taurus. The blooming and paying attention, investing more in those soft moments, those sweet places to land, to kick back, cross your legs, put your hands up on the grass behind your head, your arms up behind your head. This is about the fifth house. This is about, for Taurus, where do I feel like that there's so many possibilities, and I'm so excited about the seeds that have been sown, and I'm looking forward to the unfurling of the leaves and the blooming, and oh my God, look, the seed came out of its hole. There's the little stem, whether it's a flower or an herb. So this is a very powerful, profound, life attention getting time for Taurus that I don't see as stressful. Mars in Cancer favors Taurus. Uranus has been in Taurus for a long time. It's going to shift out soon, but it's getting along with this Virgo full moon, and it loves the massage of Pisces, you know, and it's not that bothered by Pluto in Aquarius, because it's toward the end, and Pluto's just still at that 1-2 degree type of thing of Aquarius. So Taurus is okay with how things are getting exposed right now globally to do with the rape of the land and our resources versus the people that want to respect the livestock and the plants and all that. So that's more of a global thing. But for Taurus right now, it's about trusting their inner child to come out and say, I feel good, playing cards with you. I feel good in a car with you. Like, you can love somebody and think they're a really crappy driver. Like, they drive too fast, they hit the brakes too much, they tailgate. So how do you solve that? You speak up. Just say, you know what? I'm not trying to change you, but I got to tell you, it's a little bit of a trigger for me when somebody tailgates like that, or somebody tailgates me. Guilty, both counts. I'm just going to work on that, but I get a little nervous when you do that. So that's that Virgo of like, I can only relax if I'm driving type of thing. So for Taurus right now, it's got to do with honoring your inner child, and maybe you've done a lot of work on your inner child in some of those loops. So how about you just let the inner child play, between this March and all the way into July. Let the inner child just frolic and play and finger paint and, spray somebody with the hose and just relish Mother Nature. I really suggest that for Taurus. The good food, the alone time with the people that do not drain you, and you don't drain them. That kind of a thing. So for Taurus, it's like when they're at work, and then they're going to pack it up, leave it there, turn the cell phone off, and go be with who they need to be with. It's very romantic. It can be very emotionally fortifying. For Taurus right now, it's that you've got to be into your emotions and your feelings and how you enjoy giving, not feeling obligated to give, how you enjoy giving attention and credit and money. And I want to pick up the check. No, you're a treasured friend. No, you really helped me with that. I want to do this for you. So making something a gift for someone else is a good thing for Taurus, especially as we get to that 12th house solar eclipse for you, Taurus. At that new moon in Aries is the sign before your sign. So I would focus on being a cosmic Santa Claus. And, at the same time, it's also okay, Taurus, if you go in under this Virgo, which is one of the signs of wealth, full moon, I'm going to go get one of those little, gas station, little convenience store scratch and sniff tickets and saying I'm going to do it for a whole year. And I'm like, the way those planets are aligned right now, yeah, I'm going to go get a scratch and sniff. I'm going to go get one of those little scratch off tickets. It can be $2 or $5 because I'm going to bless it. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So it's fun. It's kind of like, a different kind of oracle card reading. Like I'm going to go spend $10. And if it gets me 10 $1 tickets or 5 $2 tickets or 2 $5 tickets, I'm just going to trust my intuition, absolutely no expectations. And this is the budget. There's the Virgo part of it. And here's the Pisces part of it. Let's see if I'm meant to win. And if I do, I'll promise I'm going to tithe something directly to an animal or a person. So that's kind of where it's at with the speculation and gambling and playing and tithing, spin the wheel of fortune for Taurus. If you're Gemini's had some unsettled energy to do around home base. Either it's the projects that they've procrastinated on, or they're tired of talking about that it needs to be painted, or the plumbing needs to be upgraded, or they really want to move. They don't like the yard people they've had. There's some stuff going on with Gemini that has to do with certain family members and or the tribe, the family circle. And it could be that Gemini is a little frustrated or resentful of being pulled in on another relative or family or stepkid or step-parent or something's drama that they don't want to be involved in. It's like, okay, you married that guy and he's got a drinking problem, and that wasn't my problem. And back when you were with my dad, or there's something going on with that whole, I would say with them, they've got a circus, a big tent and a circus of clowns and jugglers and high wire walkers and lion tamers, and it's like a rodeo or a circus or something around where they call home base. So I would suggest for Gemini, this is a really good time to have March, April, May little getaways, like little by car kind of things, or it's maybe you just want to travel in country, or I don't suggest other family member visits. I think that Gemini needs to grab someone they have fun with and just get away from it all. Get away from work, get away from the neighborhood, get away from the family, house, whoever you live with, their family, your family, get away from that and just, go. It's absolutely neutral ground. The stories are new. The people are new. There is no reference except you're going to chillax. Gemini needs to chillax. If you're Cancer, it's third house. Mars is in your sign. And so Mars, the energizer, the ruler of the next new moon coming up over March 28th, 29th, is saying it's time for you to not be passive aggressive. It's time for you to enjoy a new frivolous yet intentional style of communicating your needs, responding when someone throws out that great humor boomerang for you. So for Cancerians, go to a comedy club, go to a musical concert, where you're like in a venue or walking along a sidewalk, art, Shakespeare theater or something that you're actually, go to the zoo if you like to go look at the monkeys or the lions. I feel like for Cancer right now, the favorite restaurant, like the restaurant doesn't irritate you, the food's not an issue, but it's your soft spot. It's a little Cancer shell. I like to go there and be in that vortex. It's a portal for me. I just feel good there. Even better if it's overlooking water, or there's a sound of water, or there's fish tanks in it, or maybe they serve seafood. So I feel like if the Cancer element of the moons and the rising signs out there, they need to have the atmosphere, the community, and the atmosphere that sets it's like a place setting. It sets the table of how the energy is already going to be curiously interesting once they arrive there at that place at that time. So the atmosphere and the setting, it's like the flowers they choose at a funeral or a wedding, or the setting, where you're at, so the view kind of a thing. So make the atmosphere very congenial and inviting, even if it's a picnic lunch that you take out to your favorite little woodland vortex. That's what's important right now for Cancer, because it gives them a deeper way to get the message out, or to hear what needs to be said, and to get a lot of things recalibrated and reset. If you're Leo, it's a little bit of a tender time. We've got the Mars thing going on in Cancer. It's an extra long retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So really, even when we started this year in 2025, there was an intensity with Pluto being in your opposite sign, which had to do with any and all significant others. And so when we started up this year on January 1st, as America measures the new year, Mars was in your sign, retrograde in Leo. And then in the retrograde, it didn't make it back until because it was at 1 degree. At 1 degree, so it was especially hitting the July-born Leos, the late July-born Leos. And then it went back into Cancer on the 7th of January, which is Epiphany in the Greek culture. And so now, as we're talking in March, it will end the month of March forward at 23 degrees of the sign of Cancer, because it's like bouncing around also at the 23-degree Virgo full moon. But when Mars gets to your sign again on the 19th of April, it's not that far away, Leo, when it gets back into Leo again, this is where a lot of the things that were heavy on your shoulders, weighing on your mind, that went in November, December of 2024, you're literally going to be one of the 12 signs that really feels like there's a new year that actually just starts. And we all do that. I wonder what will happen with this year. Last year, 2024 was this. And so there's really a feeling of the new year, especially for you Leos. When we get to the 3rd week of March, the new moon solar eclipse over the 28th and the 29th, Neptune popping into Aries, a brother fire sign to you. So it's going to bring new people into your life. And there's just going to be that whole decompression. And it's like, okay, I truly got to deboard that roller coaster. I don't have to take that ride anymore. I don't want high highs and low lows. I'm good with a nice, steady, even, accomplished, let bygones be bygones, let it be kind of a thing. So Leo right now has got a lot of things to organize. And with this full moon happening in their 2nd house, they're organizing their assets. They're looking at what has to be spent, what needs to be kind of put on a back burner or a front burners. Maybe some things need to be liquidated and just given to the thrift shops or sold or whatever, however people do that now. So there's a lot of things that Leo's really had a strong, since 2017, Leos have really had an intense vision quest since that big, hadn't happened for 99 years, August 21st, solar eclipse, the big eclipse across America on the 3rd week of August in 2017. Leos are graduating from that time frame, from August of 2017. So this has been a longer ride for Leos than any of the other 12 signs. And so Leo is literally reconstructing how they want to live, where they want to live, what's important in this life. So that's what's going on with Leo. And if you're a Virgo, oh boy, the full moon is in your sign. Think about the Madonna. Think about the Virgin Mary. Think about Mary, the Queen of the Universe. Think about the goddess. Think about Mother Nature. which is usually depicted as Taurus, but you've got this harvest maiden, and you've got the queen of spring Taurus, and you've got the harvest maiden and the queen of spring with Uranus and Taurus saying, this is going to be quite a garden this year. What do you want to plant? What seeds do we want to plant? What do we feel will be a visible, viable bounty? Because Virgo's tired of all the political jargon and the fear porn, and they're disconnecting from the Instagrams and the TikToks. It's like, you know what? It's like they're not letting my head spin anymore. Virgo's really like getting it together. I think Virgos are probably disengaging more from any kind of mainstream political, financial news, and they're going to specify on just the podcast or just what they want to read or what they want to study or the actual research papers. Virgos are getting they're wanting to be more face-to-face, hands-on with a current update of what's going on, not what's dated back to 2007 or 2020 or what could be ahead for Agenda 2030. No. Virgos are like in real time, right now, what's going to benefit my life. So Virgos are kind of doing the course correction that has to do with how is it me, myself, and I, and how do I protect my own? So Virgos are like that. Now, Virgo also rules any kind of gut, digestive, IBS, the kind of stressors that we hold deep inside ourselves. I would say holistically, it's a great time to consider eating some raw pumpkin seeds. That's a natural anti-parasitic. You might find that you want to do a little fast. You might find that you want to get really specific with areas like aloe vera or things that are very soft and easy on the stomach that assist gut health, like a certain non-acidic type of foods, and maybe some prebiotics and probiotics at night and before you go to bed. So if you don't want to take the capsule, Virgo, you can think about eating purple cabbage, whether it's buttered cabbage or cooked cabbage, or cabbage is just a part of your potato chip snack. But cabbage is a natural kraut, and cabbage are natural probiotic things. And the other thing I really want to suggest to Virgo is eat more frozen or fresh cubed and cut pineapple, because pineapple is bromelain, and it's a natural enzyme enhancer, and it lets you get more nutrients out of your food that you are eating, and it's very, very healing and easy on that whole digestive tract. Papaya fruit and papaya and lozenges and pineapple, do those kind of things, because most of the time the most affordable way, I can go buy a head of purple cabbage and just snack on that, whether I want to cook it or eat it raw for like 2-3 days, and I'm like, good, I did a really one ingredient food probiotic. So with Virgo right now, you and Pisces are in the spotlight to give a big damn about your health and your physical temple. If you're Libra, this full moon's going to close the chapter. This full moon is going to help you reconcile, well, that parent passed away and those siblings have really just been greedy and contrary in my life, and that sister or that brother wants to go cross purposes with me all the time. Libras are really like getting it, that it's okay if they have siblings or cousins or parents or kids that are just aggravated or envious or controlling, and the Libra's just like, yeah, no, you're gonna put that, yeah, I'm not gonna have that leash put on me. So Libra's kind of stepping back, going, you get to go do it your way. What you don't get to do is harass me, bully me, and tell me I can't. So Libras are going through a type of a psychological metamorphic emergence. They've already had the emergencies, now they're emerging, and you'll find a lot of Libras really are drawn to more of the seaside, coastal, ocean, big bodies of rivers, because they like the serenity of that water. And so it's 12th house for you, Libra. So if Libras and Aries right now are undergoing some kind of burp or surprise with medical or health news, or that insurance coverage didn't happen anymore and that's not working, and oh no, you didn't kind of thing, with the whole Medicare, medical, holistic versus, naturopathic versus allopathic, I feel like Libra, they really want to be hands-on and do it themselves their own way. And so Libra right now doesn't give a damn whether you agree with them or not. They know that they're kind of in an isolating, embryonic, my birth happens more in April, May, and so I'm just going to kind of stay out of the spotlight and take care of me and save money and nurture myself. If you're Scorpio, and it's a very psychic time, let me add that. It's a very psychic time, very intuitive time, very powerful time, not so much of oracle cards or chart readings, but Libra, it's a really powerful time for you to have that dream journaling and do some daytime meditating if you're in nature, or close-eyed even meditations that you're listening to some kind of CD or YouTube, I would be journaling. I would be making notes. I see a lot of automatic writing that could happen if Libra just sits down, puts the music or the voice-led meditation on, and they just write what comes to them. Have that pen and paper ready. If you're Scorpio, it's 11th house. Not going to spend a lot of time on Scorpio because it's really favorable for you, Scorpio. The Cancer and the Taurus and the Pisces and the Virgo are all like, psych, you get to slide through. So Scorpio's got an all-day pass on all of this. So Scorpio is probably going to be one of the signs, like Capricorn, that's stepping in to help other people, maybe go through some setbacks or pain management, or helping them go through a little burp in their life. You know, there's always the caretakers or the medicine people guides and the therapists. It's probably going to be the Scorpio and Capricorn this month. So Scorpio, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with you. I will say that Scorpio has an enrichment between March and September about the value of a time-tested friend and the value of people that are really willing to do not just the words, but the actual actions of loyalty and support. Sagittarius, it's 10th house. You're one of the 4 signs, Sag, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces, that needs a new goal, is ready, is excited about a new type of daily routine, new place to work, new ways to micromanage children, parents, intimate relationships. Sagittarius needs that freedom factor in their life. So if a Sagittarius can negotiate, okay, well, I'll work between and for this much money, and you know, believe me, I'm okay when I'm on the move and on the go. So you'll find more Sagittarian truck drivers. You'll find more Sages and some Geminis and Sages that actually are on the road, delivering the goods, or actually doing those supply chain tankers. You know, if it's by boat type of a thing, because they have a need for speed. They have a need to be in the actual visual movement of traffic. They work in traffic control towers, and I mean, they're like the hunters and the preppers and the people that are prepared in the woods, kind of like they know the way to survive in Mother Nature if they had to. They can take it to critical status. So Sagittarius right now, they're reassessing everything. They're looking at, what do I feel like has too much of a hold on me, too much of a control on me, and how am I going to circumvent that, even if it's someone's attitude toward me? How am I going to shield and protect and not let them? Some people try to bully us psychologically with silence or rolling their eyes or laughing or sneering or saying hateful things verbally, and saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, but you know, yeah, damage is done, kind of a thing. So again, with Mercury retrograde, choose your words wisely, Sag. Capricorn, like Scorpio, it's 9th house for you. It's 11th house for Scorpio. And except for that Mars opposing you, this is a time where you're reaching deeper into your spirituality, your faith. You're enjoying seeing how that's actually playing out. Both the give and the take, how you're giving, what's being given unto you, what you feel like it's okay to take, what you're going to stand up and take more of or less of. So Capricorn is kind of looking at a lot of contractual, legal. Who do they admire? Who are their mentors? Who are their go-tos legally? Who are their go-tos as far as mechanical experts, house buying experts, or interior design, or travel agents, things like that? The Capricorns are kind of looking at what's out there that's away from here that I might want to engage with a little bit more. I think Capricorn's planning for like from summer into autumn right now, and it's they're wanting to clear up a lot of contractual clutter. So they may be selling some things, and more than investing in things, they're kind of wanting to lighten their load. But there could be the need for paperwork and recognition and signing on the dotted line, resolving it to release it or buy it. And if you're an Aquarius, Aquarius right now is dancing with what matters as far as who I want to agree with, involve into my deeper passions and plans in my life. Aquarius is looking at what's a turn on, what's a turn off. And that's in all kinds of different levels. It's like, I didn't like that conversation. They were kind of snarky. That was a turn off. Or, you know, boy, I really enjoyed my spouse the other night. They really got me. They really saw me. They really listened to me. And that was a soul turn on. Not just that we might have had good relations, but it was a soul turn on. So Aquarians are very much interested in the intrigue, the investment, and the value of the people in their life, even if they don't see them on a regular basis. Aquarians never forget who it is that really got them over that hurdle that had been with them long term, and then all of a sudden through the interaction of that person or that teaching or that scenario or that book or that conference, that boom, that consult, that reading, there was a snap of the fingers, and it's like, whoa, got it. I buried it. It's done. Guillotine. Got it. It's like when they have that aha moment. Aquarius, to me, is synonymous with either creating aha moments or epiphanies or being the agents of them. Aquarians can be very good medicine people. They have great medicine bag stories. They know about the herbs. They know about the mushrooms. They know about the this or the that. They're the ones that have probably done the wild and woolly cray-cray ceremonies of like, yeah, I had a visit with the plant and the vine and I about fell off the cliff. They've gotten outside their body. They probably think they're hybrids of the space world anyway. And then most Aquarians I've talked to go like, la, 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 when you try to talk to them about UFOs, UAPs, or Bigfoot or Mothman or space things. Like, no, I don't want to talk about that. No, because I think they're probably just alien enough themselves. It's a 24/7 job for an Aquarian to try to fit into what they call the normal society or a normal world, because most Aquarians will say, I don't think I'm from here. I mean, I can micromanage it and I can function here, but I don't think I'm from here. So Aquarians have a bit of it's more of an intense time of you unknotting things. It's like what they call psychic cords or emotional cords or psychic knots. I believe you're unraveling a lot of things right now, and I don't think it's for everybody else's ears. I don't believe you need to explain yourself, Aquarius, and I don't feel like it's necessarily time to share everything, because it's still on a roll to being an aha moment and yet another epiphany, acceleration, transmutation, awakening type of a thing. Aquarians are in a real interesting time, especially the late January born Aquarians with Pluto there and Mars getting ready to bounce into Leo. It's a very intense time for who you're hanging out with and why you're going where you're going to hang out with who that is. Aquarius. It's very psychic. It's very sexy. You're going to have awakenings on both a body level, a mental level, a soul level. It's really a revelatory time. And finally, Pisces, you're grown accustomed to all these little electrical tens unit pulsations that you've been getting with all these planets dancing around in Pisces. We'll get used to it for the next year and a half, because the nodes are in Pisces. And when we get to those eclipses in September, this right here, this Virgo opposite your sun, full moon Pisces, opens the door for you to get advertisements and clues and commercials of who's going to be in and who's going to be out of your life come September of 2025. This is the big enchilada. This is the big, here's the preview of the next Netflix series that's coming out. There's going to be some, here's some hints, this is the game board, and right now the Pisces people, male and female, are kind of keeping it to themselves about, they've been so ready to let go of a particular problem or habit or challenge for so long. And it's like now they find themselves embroiled with and caught up in, oh, please don't let this to be too good to be true. I'm so glad I had that surgery. I'm so glad I met that person. I really feel alive for the first time or in a long time. I remember feeling this alive when I was 3 years old or 9 years old, and I'd gotten out of that, and we moved from there. And now I feel that light on my face. I can feel my chakras and the Kundalini emerging up my spine. I feel like that I'm multidimensional because of this and that that's entered my life. So I feel like that Pisces are in a very rare cycle of where they're actually making the move, cleaving, leaning in and cleaving more strongly to something that is a soul stimulus for them. And I feel like that it's a bold move for Pisces right now. And I believe that keeps adding momentum and energy as they trust, as they feel sheltered with their vulnerability. I feel like that Pisces is like, this is nice. And in turn, I feel like I can really bless them, and I can kind of let them in on the depth and the magic of me, because this person is magical to me. So I do want to support them, and I do want to not ever take this and them and that for granted, nor do I want to recoil if one of my insecurities come up. I'm going to be more on top of myself, to ask a question, not assume, to speak about something that's probably just my insecurity, as Pisces would say, rather than oh, that triggered me. I think that they were rejecting me. No, they weren't. Open your mouth, let them hug you, and ask them, did I do something that was not comfortable for you? Like, have the conversation. It's very important, Pisces, with this happening in your 7th house, that you allow the teachings that are meant to be on the medicine wheel, Pisces, West and the 7th house go together. When I'm doing medicine wheel ceremonies, they begin with the East, sunrise, the new dawning. And in our astrological chart, the East sign there is the ascendant. It's the rising sign, the rising sun. Well, on the medicine wheel, the West is the sunset. And so you're in the sunset, you're in the nighttime. I'm with this person. This is the end of my workday. I'm coming home to, I'm going to be with, we get to sleep together. We get to eat together. We need to wake up together. So for Pisces, this is, how am I feeling hugged and engaged with, and someone's really interested in me, and someone's also helping me not trail off too long on that or get too upset by that. So I feel like with Pisces right now, they're enjoying both the safe harbor, the place they've landed, the place to dock. They're ever emotional. The waves are always moving. The boat is always moving, even if it's in the harbor. The waves move and flow. And so Pisces are always kind of feeling the movement psychically, emotionally, their nervous systems too. And I feel like that you Pisces right now might want to get your feet rubbed, might want to soak it in Dr. Teal's Epsom salt. There's so many nerve endings in the palms of our hands and the soles of our feet. Just soak in Epsom salts. There's some incredible holistic natural flavors out there. I love the citrus one. There's all kinds of great flavors, and you can do it while you're watching your series. Just get a little, a dish pan, from the dollar store if you want to, and just get that warm water and soak your feet. You don't have to do your toenails or anything. Just soak your feet at the end of the day, in the late afternoon of the evening, and allow that magnesium from the Epsom salts to get in there and just nourish those neural pathways, highways and byways. Or let that person, that special person in your life, put some nice castor oil or put some nice healing oils on your feet. Just kick back and just let that happen. Just let them do that for 10 or 15 minutes, because that's your area of the body, Pisces. That's your area of the body. It helps with your lymph nodes. It helps with your emotional barometers. So it's all about the feet right now. And I don't think it's an accident that the soles of the feet, SOLES, also can be massaged with acupressure and good massage and genuine intention to help the SOUL senses of the body.
Oh, nothing like a good foot massage.
Yeah. It ain't about just getting your toes painted, baby. Well, actually, the art of it is reflexology, and I've been a very, very strong proponent of that, having it done, learning how to do it, not for hire by people, but I wanted to learn how to do that gift for anyone that I would care about that was going through a tension headache or animals, the reflexology on the animals. And there's a lot of great stuff online that didn't used to be there, folks. So you start out by soaking this, and you don't have to go wash your feet and scrub them and do all, just put your damn feet in the warm Epsom salts bath, just do that and let it just as you are, because people find excuses, not take your shoes off, just put your sneakers and just put your feet in the warm water. And literally, it's going to get cool in 15 minutes, and you can go to the commercial break on YouTube or whatever, and just, wow, that was interesting. You want to sleep well? Yeah, try that. Try that, or a whole bath if that's what you want to do. But the feet are easy to do. So I would say for all of us, with this Pisces energy and the whole, what they call the furnace or the digestive, the assimilation and the digestion and the elimination of the body, that furnace of the body, our midsection, very Virgoian. So what we assimilate, the nutrients that we get, the artificial this or that we don't need to have right now. This is that full moon. Again, I'll remind you, for the mystic, for an astrologer, this is the last full moon of the sign of Pisces. The zodiacal new year begins on March 20th. So we literally, as far as an astrological or zodiacal, and also Mother Nature in the Northern Hemisphere, the spring equinox, we are now springing forward as we come to March 20th. That will be the equinox day. And in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the spring equinox. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's autumn. So this is our time to spring forth, and all the Aries stuff that starts to fortify in the month of April. And Venus, the direct turns coming back into the Aries signature by mid-month in April, and then having the new moon. That eclipse, solar eclipses span out 5 to 6 months. So just because this eclipse happens in Aries at the new moon, I'll be live on my other podcast with Joe Roop, Lighting the Void, over that new moon eclipse. The Aries eclipse, not only is it a big deal, but our zodiac count wheel starts over with Aries every year in the third week of March. But now we have a new moon. Oh, that adds a little power, times 2. And it's going to be the last solar eclipse in Aries for 19 years, because the nodes aren't going to be North Node Aries and South Node Libra for another 18 to 19 years. So this is a goodbye, a real goodbye back to, at least the last 2 years. And so our emerging as butterflies, as the fresh chick, as the new creature emerging from the egg, the Easter egg hunt, so to speak, is over, and we resurrect into that which we choose to find value with and make it worth it and feel more worthwhile and valued because of what we do for ourselves to become a best, better version of ourselves commences. This is showing us what needs a course correction. As of March 20th into the 29th and 30th of March of 2025, those days, the 20th, that 10-day period from March 20th to March 30th is saying, this is the viable path. This is your best option. Are you up for the task? Will you make the commitment? That's when we're going to feel the Aries and the Mars and Leo stuff kick in. And the end of March and going into April, it's like, now it's time to roar. You've been put into a whole new viable Costa Rican jungle. And so there's all kinds of fruits and fauna and everything for you. What kind of lion you going to be? So are you lying to yourself, or are you going to be the Lion of Judea, and you're going to use your fortified heart chakra Leo energies? Mars is going to spend some time in Leo now. It's coming back. It's going to spend some time in Leo. That's the heart chakra. It's the fire of our romance. It's the fire who we're loyal to, who inspires us, and how we want to be courageous and dynamic and inspire people with whatever work we came here to do as doctors or dentists or grocery store owners or car salesmen or whatever. Be the best that you can be.
Yeah, and won't that be interesting when Neptune moves into Aries?
Oh yeah, well, we're literally living through something we've not lived through before.
No.
1861. Yeah. So I'm when I looked at the Civil War, that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna start really talking more about compassion in action, paying it forward, kindness, deeds from all of us at whatever level we can do that, including financially, with no thought of self-gain, because I believe that we need to reverse the tendency of a civil war into an awareness ascension, which is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. I was talking about this on the weekend, that, we're coming into a new cycle, and we are likely going to see some kind of war, but we are also going to be coming at it in a completely much more evolved society. So, the level of consciousness has absolutely risen since that time. So it'll be interesting to see how we handle it, and how we approach it. But it's and
what we align with, and what we align with by choice. We have to be very aware and committed to, I align with that, not so much that over there. I'm not going to put energy into that over there. We've got to be able to pull back too and say, nope, not a match. No,
and this is where your spiritual practices are going to be held to the fire. This is where you really, and it's time to really kind of put up and show up, in a way, like, instead of just like, oh, it's in my mind, it's in the ethers, it's like, no.
Well, I can tell you this, Nicole.
Walk the walk now.
Yeah, walk the talk, walk it. You can't just talk it. Well, I can tell you, because of this conglomeration in Pisces and the North Node being in Pisces, which is, the drive ahead, since Pisces has to do with faith, fear, overcoming fear, faith, in the snake oil salesman, as they say. This North Node in Pisces over this year is going to expose false prophets and false psychics and nefarious, acting like I'm a guardian being of light, or, God speaking directly to me, and I declare, the Lord declared, and I'm having a vision and a prophecy. It's like, you better check yourself, because it's either the real, or you're about to have a fall from grace, and I'm okay with it.
I said the exact same thing. We're going to see, like, kind of cultish leaders emerge, and you got to have your discernment cap on like never before. Some are going to be true.
Right. That's number one.
Some are going to be true leaders, but the cultish ones, watch out for. So,
number one skill set, Nicole, you nailed it. Number one skill set. If you walk away from 2025's message with Nicole and I, she'll agree with me on this. She just said it. Discernment. Look it up, learn it, go into the spiritual foundational platform of what discernment means to you with whatever religiosity you were raised with. Look at it how it is to the Catholics. What's discernment for the Jews? What's discernment for the Indians? What's discernment for the Sufis, the Hindus? What is the eyes of the soul? I can't tell you where it is in the Bible, but it's like, we have two visible eyes, and then we have the inner eye, the Christ within, or the, we are made in the image and likeness of God, the third eye. It's in a lot of ancient cultures. It's revered in Egypt. Learn about how the inside eye, that doesn't have to be obvious, like our left and our right physical eyes, but what do they always refer to as the eyes? The windows of the soul. So there's, again, another wordplay. EYE also sounds like the capital I. What am I willing to do? I am, and what comes after that is very important because it is your signature identity. I am, fill in the blank. I will, I am, it is. So what are you putting the letter I, and what are you putting your EYEs into and onto? That's what builds the skill sets of discernment.
Yes. And so with all of that, to know that we are in eclipse season. Well, we've already been in it a little bit, but eclipse season.
Yeah.
The winds of fate are blowing and change is upon you. You cannot run away from it, so embrace it. Use the Piscean energy to surrender. Let go of your need to make things perfect. Some processes, some details are going to have to be reconciled, let go of, but it's all for you to emerge with a much more, let's say, efficient system to work with. And it's really about bringing in the matters of the soul, matters of big faith is going to be very important in this time. So with all that being said, if you would like to get a reading with Mary, you can head on over to her website, marydusina.com. I'm going to leave all of her details in the show notes as always. And if you want to join me live on Monday, the 17th, for my healing exit strategy, where I'm going to show you how I collapse time around every single one of my clients' transformation so that they can move on in their healing journey and move on with real world transformation. You will get to see how you can apply it to your current healing journey right now. It's going to blow your mind. I'm going to be doing live demos. And if you can't make the live, it's okay. You're going to have access to the recording for a lifetime. So all of that, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Guys, I love you so much. Mary, I love you. Thank you so much for your time and for taking us all through each sign. And to everyone out there, be safe on this eclipse. Travel smart with us going into Mercury retrograde, and Mary and I will be back with you in a month. Of course, if you want to check out her new moon solar eclipse in Aries, you can go to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop in 2 weeks from now, and you will be able to catch her live there. I love you guys.